There are some decisions you make in life that you can replay in your mind 1,000 times, and every single time you still cannot explain why you made them. This is one of those decisions. It was a Tuesday, ordinary in every way that a Tuesday can be. I was sitting at my kitchen table, coffee going cold, scrolling through my phone the way most of us do in the morning when we are not quite awake enough to be a real person yet. My sister had texted me around 7. My coworker sent a meme I did not understand. And then there was a message from a number I did not recognize. But that is not what stopped me. What stopped me was the message my mother sent at 2 in the morning, which I had somehow slept through. And attached to that message was a file, a voice memo. And underneath it, she had written 6 words. "Do not open this without me present." Now I want you to sit with that for a second because I did not sit with it long enough. 6 words. A voice memo, sent at 2 in the morning by my own mother, and she had not called me. She had not followed up. She had just sent that message and gone silent. I texted her back immediately, no response. I called her. It rang and went to voicemail. I told myself she was probably asleep, that she had sent it in the middle of the night and had not woken up yet. It was early. I told myself that. But here is the thing about the human brain. When someone you love tells you not to do something, and then they go unreachable, every rational thought you have gets slowly replaced by this low, persistent hum of panic. And that hum does not go away. It just gets louder. I called my brother. He had seen the message too. He told me in a very firm voice, "Do not open it." He said Mom had called him the night before and told him she needed to tell us both something important, something she had been carrying for a long time, and that she wanted to be there when we heard it. He said whatever was in that file, it was not something to sit with alone. That should have been enough. That should have settled it for me. It was not enough. I kept staring at that file, just sitting there. This small gray rectangle on my screen, maybe 2 minutes and 40 seconds long, holding something my mother had been carrying for a long time. Those were my brother's words. Carrying for a long time. What does that mean? What do you carry silently for years and then decide to finally put into a voice memo at 2 in the morning and send to your children? My mind went to health. It always goes to health first. Was she sick? Had she been hiding something, going to appointments alone, protecting us from something she had already made peace with? Then it went somewhere darker. Old family secrets have a particular smell to them. You grow up smelling them without knowing what they are. Little gaps in stories, photographs with people nobody names, questions that get answered a little too quickly. I had grown up in a house with a few of those gaps, and I had learned not to pull on them. But now there was a file, and she had sent it herself. By 10 in the morning, I still had not heard from her. I had called 3 more times. My brother had called her twice. He texted me and said she was probably just at church, that she went every Tuesday morning and always left her phone in the car. That was true. That was a completely reasonable explanation. I sat with it for another hour, and then I opened it. Her voice came through immediately, and she sounded tired in a way I had not heard before. Not sick tired, not crying tired, just the tired of someone who has been holding something upright for decades and finally decided to set it down. She said my name first, just my name, quietly, like she was testing whether she could say the rest of what she needed to say. And then she told me. She told me that the man I had called my father for 31 years, the man who had walked me to school and taught me to drive and sat in the front row at every important moment of my life, was not my biological father. She told me that before she married him, there had been someone else. Someone she had loved very briefly and very badly, the way you sometimes love people when you are young and have not yet learned the difference between intensity and stability. She had ended things with him when she realized he was not someone she could build a life with. And then she had found out she was pregnant. She had not told him. She had married my father, the man I knew, within months. And my father, the man I knew, had known from the beginning. He had chosen me. Those were her words. He chose you before you even arrived. The recording was 2 minutes and 38 seconds long. I sat with the silence after it ended for much longer than that. Here is what I was not prepared for. Not the information itself, as devastating as it landed. What I was not prepared for was the grief that came immediately after, which was not grief about a lie. It was grief about my father, the man who had raised me. Because in the space of 2 minutes and 38 seconds, without anyone telling me to feel this way, I understood something about that man that I had never fully understood before. Every time he looked at me, he was choosing me. Not once. Not at the beginning. Every single time. There is something about receiving a truth you were not prepared for that completely dismantles the story you thought you knew about your own life. But sometimes, if you are very still and very quiet, what the new story reveals is not a smaller version of your life. Sometimes it is bigger. Sometimes the love was always bigger than you knew, and you were just looking at it from the wrong angle. My mother called me 20 minutes later, panicked and apologetic and crying before I even said a word. She had come home from church and seen all the missed calls and immediately known what had happened. She asked me if I was okay. I told her I had opened it. I want to be honest about what I felt in that conversation, because this is not a story where everything immediately makes sense and everyone hugs and heals. I was angry. I was genuinely, deeply angry. Not at her, not exactly, but at the years. At the version of myself that had spent so much time wondering why I was different from my siblings in certain ways, building quiet little theories that never led anywhere. I was angry at all the wondering that had not needed to happen. But I was also sitting there thinking about my father, my real father, the man I was going to call the moment I got off the phone with my mother, the man who, it turned out, had been the most intentional person in my entire life, without ever once letting me know the scale of his intention. I called him after. He picked up on the second ring because he always picks up on the second ring. I told him I knew. He was quiet for a moment. And then he said something I have turned over in my mind every single day since. He said, "I have been waiting 31 years for you to know, because I wanted you to know that I did not have to love you, and I did it anyway. I did not have to love you, and I did it anyway." People always talk about unconditional love like it is something you fall into, like it is passive, like it just happens to you. But what my father described was not passive. It was a daily act. It was a choice made over and over again across 3 decades, quietly, without credit, without acknowledgement, simply because he believed I was worth choosing. I think about the people in my life who told me not to open that message. They were trying to protect me, and I understand that. I do not regret listening before I was ready, but I also do not regret that I did not wait, because some truths are heavy. But sometimes the weight of them is not a burden. Sometimes what you thought was going to crush you turns out to be the most solid ground you have ever stood on. And sometimes the story you were most afraid to hear is the one that finally explains everything.